Did you know that the new Planet of the Apes movie erased a very important scene from the true ending? Also, does the film have many connections to the first movie from 1968? I'll tell you all about it here. Today we'll review 20 things you didn't see in the new Planet of the Apes movie. Ready? Let's do this. When Noah and his friends enter the bunker, they find a human doll that says Mama. This is a reference to the first Planet of the Apes movie from 1968. In that movie, astronaut Taylor explored the home of an ancient human and found a human doll that could talk. It also said Mama. Many fans believe that this is not just a reference, but that this doll would connect both movies. If that's true, the 1968 movie would happen after Noah's story. Taylor in the future will find the doll that Noah showed us. But of course, this is just a theory. In several parts of the movie, the apes use this symbol that represents Caesar. We see it with the villain Proximus, and also on Raka's collar. This symbol belongs to the first movie in this saga, the one from 2011. In it, the protagonist Caesar lived with his owner, the scientist Will Rodman, and the window of his room had this particular shape. Since then, the symbol has represented freedom and the desire to move forward. But it also reminds us of that beautiful moment when a man and an ape lived together in harmony. Where did the idea come from for the apes to train eagles? Well, according to the director of the film, Wes Ball, he wanted the apes to have some kind of pet, just like humans domesticate dogs. Eagles seem to him a very useful animal for the apes. Plus, according to his words, the idea looks great on screen. At the end of the film, humans manage to activate the communication antennas thanks to May's disc, and immediately they receive a signal from another human base. This voice tells us that it is transmitting from Fort Wayne, Indiana. This place is a reference to the 1968 movie. The protagonist of that story, Colonel Taylor, also came from Fort Wayne, Indiana. He himself tells the apes. When Noah's village is attacked, he is hit with an electric baton, which leaves a wound on the right side of his chest. This mark is identical to the one Caesar, the protagonist of the previous trilogy, had. Except in Caesar's case, the mark was a birthmark. According to the director of the film, this has an interesting symbolism. Caesar was born with the destiny of being a leader of the apes. Only he could write the history of his race. That's why he was born with the mark. On the other hand, Noah is just a boy who accidentally gets involved in this battle. That's why the mark comes to him by chance. What will happen to Noah and May? According to the director of the film, Wes Ball, the relationship between both characters will continue and will be vital in the following movies. This marks a difference with Matt Reeves' previous trilogy. In each movie, Caesar also related to a specific human, but this only lasted for one movie. We didn't see them again. In the new trilogy, May and Noah will end the story together, so their relationship will progress much more. The movie presents water as a natural weakness of the apes. We see this when Noah and his friends climb the cliff, afraid of falling into the sea, and also in the flooding of the bunker that takes away several apes. This idea is an inheritance from the old movies. In them, it was established that apes feared water. This is especially noticeable in Tim Burton's 2001 movie, where they say that apes can't swim, and therefore never touch the water. The name of the protagonist, Noah, is the same as that of the biblical character. I'm talking about Noah, who built the ark for the universal flood. The point is that this is interesting because Noah saved the apes from the flooding of the bunker, something similar to what Noah from the Bible did, who saved his people from the universal flood. Nothing is a coincidence. When Proximus Caesar speaks to his subjects, we can see several apes bowing their heads and raising their hands in a sign of submission. This gesture is the same as Caesar's in the 2011 movie, when he asked Will for permission to go climb trees. We've seen this gesture of submission throughout the trilogy by many apes. And 300 years later, it still remains. When Noah, Raka, and May approach Proximus's domains, we can see some scarecrows in the shape of an X. These are the same as those that appear in the first Planet of the Apes movie from 1968. In that story, the apes place these symbols to delimit their domains. What do you think? Is it just a reference, or is it a connection between both movies? The movie doesn't have a post-credits scene as such, but it did leave us something interesting. After the credits, we can hear the sounds of the breathing of a large ape, an orangutan. This has led many to think of Raka, who died halfway through the movie. Many fans believe that the sound warns us that he is still alive, and we could see him in the next movie. It wouldn't be strange since his character is very important for Noah's development, and his death was quite simple. When May and Noah are captured, they are taken prisoner along a beach to Proximus's kingdom. This scenario reminds us a lot of the beach at the end of the 1968 Planet of the Apes. In both cases, we have prisoners and apes mounted on horses, but the important thing is how identical the beach is. It almost seems like we're talking about the same place. The conversation between May and Noah at the end of the movie was going to be very different from what we saw in theaters. According to actress Freya Allen, who played May in the scene, she was going to shoot Noah, but all that was deleted. In her words, "In the scene I filmed, May was there to kill Noah because he scares her. His intelligence scares her. May doesn't want to kill him, but she feels she has to. You see her aiming the gun at Noah when he's turned away, and then you think, my God, is she about to shoot him?" May cries as she does it, but she stops when Noah mentions Raka's name. This totally changes the perspective of the scene. Many of us thought that May brought the gun to defend herself, in case Noah wanted to attack her for her previous betrayal. But now we know that's not true. She brought the gun to kill him, but luckily she stopped because of Raka's memory. The scene of May escaping from the apes in the tall grass is a clear reference to the 1962 movie. In it, we had an identical event, when Colonel Taylor and the other astronauts escaped from the apes for the first time. In both scenes, we see wild humans and apes on horseback and nets. They even repeated the same music. The end of the movie shows us Noah using the telescope to look at the stars, and he stares at something intently. They don't show us what it is, but many fans believe Noah is looking at a spaceship, which would mean that we will finally see the astronauts lost in space. This is an idea that was used in the 1970s movies, with astronauts who traveled to the future and arrived at the planet of the apes. Back to the present, Matt Reeves also raised this idea with his 2011 movie, where he showed us a newspaper with the news of astronauts lost in space. But in the end, he never mentioned this topic again. Many fans think that in Noah's scene, he is seeing a spaceship entering the atmosphere. Also, if we analyze the entire scene, everyone looks at the sky, Noah, May, and the humans, with their antennas looking upwards. The visual language points to something coming from above, and the movie is warning us. But what do you think? Noah's clan lives in peace with the eagles and nature, but the wise men have established that no one should cross the tunnel that leads to the ruins of the angels, because there are dangers there. This idea of the Forbidden Zone belongs to the 1970s movies. In the first two films, the apes also had a forbidden zone. This was because of the dangers of the place, but also because in that zone was the truth about the origin of the apes. The wise men didn't want that to be known. If we transfer the idea to the new movie, it makes us think that the Eagle clan does something similar. They know nothing about Caesar and are forbidden to approach the ancient ruins of the earth, as if they wanted to hide this information for some reason. Perhaps this was an effort by the wise men to keep their clan away from the past so that they could live in peace with nature. Proximus Caesar's army uses electric batons to subdue their enemies. This weapon reminds us of the first movie in this saga, the one from 2011. In it, Caesar was held captive in a habitat for apes, where he was tortured by his caregivers. They used a kind of electric baton. The idea has transcended, and now we see it 300 years later. Where did Proximus Caesar come from? The movie presents him as a villain, but it doesn't tell us anything about his past. According to the director of the film Wes Ball, when Caesar died, the apes divided into clans, and there was a group that maintained Koba's ideas, the villainous ape, from the 2014 movie. He had a great resentment towards humans for the horrible things they did to him. According to the director, those ideas were passed down from generation to generation. Proximus comes from that order that kept Koba's ideas of resentment towards humans. At the beginning, May is baptized with the name Nova. Raka is not clear why, but according to him in Caesar's time, they used that name for humans. This is a reference to the girl that Caesar protected in the 2017 movie. She was baptized as Nova, and apparently the apes continued to use that name for human women for generations. But of course the name is also a reference to the 1968 movie, where Taylor joins a woman whom he baptizes as Nova. The name of Proximus Caesar comes from Latin, or can also be translated as the next Caesar. The villain adopted this name as a way of saying that he is the new Caesar, and he used the Latin language because it was spoken in the Roman Empire. The movie suggests that the human Trevitan taught Proximus everything about the Roman Empire to create his kingdom, so he got his name from here. But well, that's all I can say about the new Planet of the Apes movie. I hope you liked the video. If so, you would help me a lot by leaving a like. That would be legendary. Also remember to subscribe, because I'll be uploading more videos of your favorite movies. Thanks for listening. My name is Charlie, and I'll see you in the future.